electronic transactions.
Presently, Nigeria is being facing with a lot of economic challenges, the dollar high rate, the petroleum, scarcity of petrol, the high purchase of petrol price and diesel, which we are still telling the government to find a way around it in bringing the price down, which will enable the productions and the operation of Nigerian economy. But that problem is still there, which they are yet to resolve. The electronic money transfer is still on it, yet we are coming up with this cyber security levy. Now my question is this: what are they trying to achieve now? And what is the purpose of this thing? They should come out and tell all the citizens or everyone in Nigeria.
As the financial sector adapts to these regulatory changes, experts have called for collaboration among stakeholders towards mitigating cybersecurity risks and promoting a safe.
The federal government, through the Corporate Affairs Commission, has issued a 2-month registration deadline to point of sales companies to register their agents, merchants, and individuals with the Commission in line with legal requirements and the directives of the Central Bank of Nigeria. The agreement was reached during a meeting between fintechs and the Registrar General CAC Hussein Ishaq Magaji in Abuja. According to the Nigeria Interbank Settlement System, there are over 1.9 million POS terminals deployed by merchants and individuals nationwide. Mr. Hussein said the measure aims at safeguarding the businesses of fintech's customers and strengthening the economy. He further noted that the timeline for the registration, which will expire on July 7, 2024, was not targeted at any groups or individuals, but genuinely aimed at providing a protection for businesses.
The federal government, through the Securities and Exchange Commission, is set to delist the Naira from all peer-to-peer crypto platforms. This is as the government steps up efforts to tackle exchange rate manipulators and dollar racketeers. The development comes against the backdrop of the recent moves by the federal government to regulate Nigeria's crypto market, estimated at $57 billion. The newly appointed Director General of the Commission, Emomotimi Agama, disclosed the government's latest plan in a meeting organized by the Blockchain Industry Coordinating Committee of Nigeria. He confirmed that the government was currently drafting a new set of regulations to govern the crypto sector. The SEC-DG urged members of the crypto community in Nigeria to name and shame the players involved in the manipulation of the Naira.
The House of Representatives Joint Committee investigating the arbitrary increase in the price of cement in Nigeria has lamented the cost of the commodity compared to what obtains in other African countries. At the public hearing on the subject, stated the need to address the situation, noting that the price of cement is lower in most African countries. He said findings showed that the price of cement is 69% higher in Nigeria than in India, 39% higher in Nigeria than in Zambia, and 29% higher than in Kenya, given the official exchange rate. The Speaker, Abbas Tajuddin, represented by the Deputy Speaker, Benjamin Kalu, assured the manufacturers that the public hearing was not intended to witch hunt them, but to proffer solutions. Recall that on March 13, 2024, the House resolved to investigate the incessant increase in the price of cement following the adoption of the motion co-sponsored by Gaza Gwifi, SDP Nasarawa, and Ademori Kwe, APC Lagos. On February 13, the federal government and cement manufacturers agreed to peg the price of a 50 kg bag of cement between 7,000 and 8,000 naira.
Away from that, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has urged judges to shun fear as they carry out their duties. He particularly tasked them to prioritize their integrity as well as remain steadfast in the face of daunting challenges by protecting and upholding the rule of law. the CJN made the call at the induction course for newly appointed judges of the Superior Courts of Record held at the National Judicial Institute in Abuja. CJN Ariwola, through Justice Sankey, advised the newly appointed judges to be humble in recognizing the limits of their knowledge and seek guidance through education and support while learning from fellow judges. The CJN noted that the role of judges is a critical one that demands an understanding of their position as priests in the temple of justice and defenders of the rule of law.
This broadcast of Newscope comes to you from the Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, Ibadan. The organized labor says there is no moral justification for the federal government to stop the payment of monthly 35,000 naira minimum wage award to workers. The president of the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, ASCSN, Mr. Etimokon, said this in an interview in Abuja. Mr. Okon, who is also the Vice President of the Trade Union Congress, TUC, said that it was worrisome that workers were yet to receive their monthly wage awards from March and April. He called on the federal government to do the needful and ensure the payment of the award without much delay due to hardship being faced by workers over the removal of fuel subsidy.
The Indian Consulate General to Nigeria, Sri Chandramouli Kern, has expressed optimism for flourished bilateral relations between India and Nigeria in the provision of quality healthcare services. He disclosed this at the unveiling of an international hospital, a leading provider of primary and specialty care operations in Lagos State. Kern assured all present of India's commitment to supporting Nigeria in various endeavors. He said the launching of the hospital marks a giant step in Nigeria's healthcare landscape. The Indian envoy further noted the introduction of advanced medical facilities and cutting-edge technology alongside a team of internationally trained and experienced doctors from India and Nigeria as plans to achieving the set goal.
Healthcare professionals have been called to raise more awareness on the preventive measures against asthma in society. This call was made in light of the World Asthma Day celebration with the theme Asthma Education Empowers. BCOS reporter Oluwatumishi Oluwajimi looks into the day and why it is celebrated. Her report is presented by Faith Adekunle.
Asthma is a condition that is characterized by the narrowing and inflammation of the airways, often accompanied by increased mucus production. Symptoms include difficulty in breathing, coughing, wheezing, and shortness of breath. While asthma may pose a minor inconvenience for some individuals, for others, it can significantly disrupt daily routines and even escalate to life-threatening asthma attacks. The purpose of World Asthma Day is to educate people living with asthma and create a world where everyone can breathe freely. In a chat with BCOS News, a medical doctor at the University College Hospital Ibadan, Dr. Usman Adedeji, pointed smoke and perfumes as the leading triggers of asthma in the society.
What it means is that it's a chronic condition that affects the airway, and then it can be familial, it can be genetic. Once someone's parent has it, one can have it. Then there could also be allergies that could cause it. Someone has allergic reactions to some things, it could manifest as asthma in the airway. They have difficulty breathing. There's a lot of mucus secretion that happens in the lungs, and then it will affect their breathing pattern. And then usually it's one disease that is preventable. You know what the triggers are. You are able to prevent them, and then you save yourself a lot of money getting medications to relieve symptoms.
Speaking with BCS News, a health consultant, Mrs. Blessing Lawal, also highlighted regular checkups and the continuous use of medications prescribed by doctors as one of the ways of controlling asthma attacks.
To raise awareness to all people, to help an individual know that asthma is not a death sentence, to raise the risk, to reduce the risk of death among people living with asthma. Advice to people living with asthma. Asthma is not a death sentence. Ensure you go for proper treatment and checkups. Use your medications. Do not expose yourself. Remember to also pray because prayer works.
Both experts harped on the need for people with asthmatic condition to do away with things that can trigger attacks, as the prices of inhalers cost a fortune.
The Chief Executive Officer of Binance, Richard Teng, has described the detention of its employee, Tigran Gambaryan, by the Nigerian government as unjust. He stated this in a statement today, adding that the act is a dangerous precedent for international businesses. Teng also said that despite remains in detention for spurious reasons, he said this act contradicts the spirit of cooperation and transparency that Binance has consistently demonstrated in its interactions with the regulatory authorities. It would be recalled that on February 26, Gambaryan and his colleague Nadeem Anjarwalla were arrested in connection with a criminal investigation into Binance's activities in Nigeria when they continues to remain in detention at the Kuje Correctional Center pending the determination of his bail application.
Occurred at Okewode in Ogbomoso North Local Government area of Oyo State. The fire, which occurred around 2 in the morning, destroyed almost all shops around Adesheun Pivotal ICT Center, which include 2 palm kernel processing shops, photo shop, furniture shop, among others. BCOS correspondent in Ogbomoso, Adiremi Akomu, who visited the scene, reports that victims were seen counting their losses. It was gathered that residents and other sympathizers assisted to put out the fire by fetching water from distant wells and boreholes because there was no quick response from the men of the firefighter services. Speaking, 2 of the victims of the fire incident appealed for assistance as all their goods had been destroyed in the fire, which cause is yet to be ascertained.
The Catholic Archbishop of Ibadan, Most Reverend Ojekunle Abegurin, has urged the Church to be prepared against the influence of artificial intelligence (AI), with a view to rather promoting opportunities in it than its disadvantages. Most Reverend Abegurin, who was the guest of the BCOS management shortly after featuring on the BCOS live television program Lotun Lotun, granted an interview with staff reporter Adebayo Abdurrafi on the essence of Catholic Communication Week. Here is his report.
The 2024 Communications Week celebration had commenced since Sunday, May 5, and will be rounded off with Pope's address on Sunday, May 12. The week is being celebrated in all parishes, seminaries, convents, schools, and other Catholic institutions with the theme Artificial Intelligence and Wisdom of the Heart for a Fully Human Communication. Speaking on the theme, after a courtesy call on the BCOS management, the Catholic Archbishop of Ibadan, Most Reverend Ojeleke Abegurin, stressed the need for the Church to be wary of the negative potentials of artificial intelligence.
AI is like a computer. It's whatever they load into it that it performs. You have to load it. If you load it to cut grass, it will cut grass. We load it to repair cars, it will repair cars. We load it to carry load that cannot carry to carry our loads. So those are the kind of things that let people know that it's also positive. It has positive meaning, progressive meaning if you use it well. Let people know what is negative about it. Let people know. Because we can say this is the use of it. We must send people to go and study it so that they can tell us the cons and pros of it.
Most Reverend Abegurin further cautioned the youth against constituting themselves as security threats to the society through the use of artificial intelligence.
For our dear youth, please, I can't stop you from using media or using your telephones or using computer, but I would ask you to be very careful what you use. Don't destroy your lives or life of your neighbor. You can have your money that you want without destroying people or destroying the image or destroying the name of your family or society. So look what is positive in it. Use that more instead of going to the negative part of it. That's what I'm going to tell the youth.
The Catholic Archbishop also lauded the BCOS management for sustaining the legacy of promoting communication values with a view to achieving a saner society. represented by the General Manager, Broadcasting Corporation of Oyo State, BCOS, Mr. Goke Adelakun. The BCOS chairman, Mrs. Dotun Olaiton, expressed the commitment of BCOS towards ensuring equal opportunities for religious stakeholders. The Catholic Archbishop of Ibadan, Most Reverend Ojeleke Abeguni, was accompanied on the courtesy call by the Director of Communication, Ibadan Catholic Archdiocese, Reverend Father Anthony Akiwowo, members of the Catholic Artists and Entertainers Association of Nigeria, CAEN, and Catholic Media Practitioners Association of Nigeria, led by Mr. Cosmos Uni Adebayo Abdurrafi. BCOS News.
On the foreign scene, the collapse of a multi-story building under construction in the South African city of George has killed at least 4 people and trapped around 50 more. Authorities today at a construction crew of 75 people was at the site of the type at the time of the collapse, adding that 24 people have been found and pulled from the rubble, 4 of whom have died. The coastal municipality said in an early morning update that 51 other people were still unaccounted for. It added that rescue operations continued throughout the night with strong floodlights illuminating the cordoned-off site. The 5-story building, including an underground parking garage, collapsed in the early afternoon for reasons still undetermined.
To end this edition of Newscope, here again are the top stories. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has issued a warning to the federal government as the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, directed deposit money banks in the country to start charging 0.5% cybersecurity levy on transactions.
Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, has urged judges to shun fear as they carry out their duties.
Organized labor says there is no moral justification for the federal government to stop the payment of the monthly 35,000 naira wage award to workers.
The collapse of a multi-story building under construction in the South African city of George has killed at least 4 people and trapped around 50 more.
That's all from the Newscope desk. It was packaged by Afolakemi Akambi and delivered by
Olukemi Ajayi
and Idowu Shekoni. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to tune in for the Yoruba version at 8 o'clock this evening. Good evening.
The news.
I belong to the Chop Better gang. Now why anytime I want chop like this, I dey put better things inside. For my yam porridge, after I don put my fish, I go come deck am with onions, tatashe and ugu, come season am with correct knorr cubes for that delicious taste. Because my people, good life na life where you chop better.
Sama all your food with correct vegetables. Come season am with knorr cubes for that ogbonge delicious taste. Today, chop better.